Hey everyone, welcome to Wealth Redefined. I'm your host, Michael Reynolds, certified financial planner and owner of Elevation Financial. Thanks for joining me today. As always, I'm on the web at elevationfinancial.com. If you'd like to reach out anytime, happy to chat. Today's topic is pay yourself first. What does it mean? It's a phrase that you've probably heard thrown around at various times, in various contexts. It's a phrase we've heard for a while, but what does it mean? We're going to talk about that today. So, on that note, personal finance is full of jargon, lots of rules of thumb, lots of pithy sayings meant to potentially inspire and educate people. Sometimes these sayings are helpful, sometimes they're not. Often they're not universally applicable, but they can make sense in the right context. So one phrase, again, that you've probably heard is that phrase, pay yourself first. So the origin of this phrase, the pay yourself first phrase, is not super clear. It's sometimes credited to the personal finance author Robert Kiyosaki. No affiliation or endorsement implied in any way here. But he popularized the concept in his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But the idea has been around for a lot longer, and similar phrases have been used by financial advisors for decades. So it's been kind of thrown around for a while. So what does it mean to pay yourself first? And more importantly, is this a good idea? So what does it mean? So to put it a little more simply, paying yourself first means prioritizing your saving and investing for your own financial goals before paying your expenses and your bills. It's a budgeting strategy where a portion of your income is automatically saved or invested before you spend it on other things. So this helps ensure that you're consistently saving and investing for the future rather than only saving what's left over for spending, after spending, I should say. So the concept of reverse budgeting is a form of pay yourself first. We've talked about reverse budgeting on this show before, and that's another way of basically doing pay yourself first. And here's an example. So for example, let's say you have a Roth IRA that you'd like to invest in. A real world example of paying yourself first is setting up an automatic savings plan where a portion of your income is directly transferred into the Roth IRA each time you receive a paycheck. So for example, if you earn, let's say $5,000 per month and decide to pay yourself first by setting aside $500 of your income, that amount would automatically be transferred into your Roth IRA before spending it on other expenses. So it's timed with your paycheck or timed with the income coming in. So it comes out first before it's spent on anything else. So this ensures that you consistently invest for your financial goals rather than only saving what's left over after spending. So it's the timing of it that's important. If you have a 401k at work that you're contributing to, you're already paying yourself first. This is already happening. The amount you're contributing to your 401k is being taken out before your paycheck even hits your bank account. So this is you paying yourself first before you use the money for other things. So it sounds useful, right? Well, it's harder than it seems. So the 401k example makes it very easy to pay yourself first because it's kind of a forced way of money coming out before you get paid. So but outside of the 401k example, many people find it difficult to set aside money for investing first. There's various reasons for this, some practical, some behavioral, but it's very common for many of us to pay bills first and then use money for discretionary spending and then wind up with nothing left for investing or retirement savings. So in this case, we're paying ourselves last, which is what most of us do. So what are some advantages of paying yourself first? First, you're building savings and wealth by making investing and savings a priority. You're building your savings and wealth over time. That actually sticks to the plan of saving and investing. It also improves your financial discipline. By automatically transferring a portion of your income into savings or investment accounts, you can develop a habit of consistently saving and investing. You can also avoid lifestyle inflation by paying yourself first and increasing your investing in proportion to your income. You can avoid increasing your spending as your income increases because you're still prioritizing your investing. You also prioritize your financial goals. By paying yourself first, you make your financial goals a priority, which helps you stay focused on achieving them. So that prioritization helps confirm the priority of your goals. It also can reduce stress. Because you're consistently saving and investing, you can reduce stress by increasing your financial security, by knowing that you've made your future success a priority or your future security a priority. So what about disadvantages of paying yourself first? So everything has downsides, right? So some of the disadvantages can be reduced disposable income. By setting aside a portion of your income for savings or investments, you may have less money available for immediate expenses or discretionary spending. So obviously, this is obvious. The math is the math. If you're increasing the amount that you're setting aside for investing and saving, and maybe you haven't done that in the past, then you're likely going to feel like you have less money for spending because you literally do. So that may feel tighter. You might have difficulty adjusting to this lower budget. For those of us who are used to spending a large portion of income, adjusting to a lower budget by paying yourself first can be difficult. It can be an adjustment. You can have more limited access to funds because depending on the type of investment or savings account you use, you can face penalties or restrictions on accessing those funds before a certain date. So if you're putting money into a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA or other types of accounts, things can happen that could make it more difficult to withdraw that money. So, by redirecting that money into those accounts, that can be a fact. But that's a given with investing and retirement savings. So I wouldn't call that necessarily a disadvantage, just something to be aware of. So what should you do? Should you pay yourself first? As always, personal finance is not one size fits all. So what works for one person may not work for another. Generally, I find that the pay yourself first method benefits those who struggle with traditional budgeting. If you have trouble tracking your spending, and sticking to a budget, then setting aside your retirement savings and investing first can be a great way to overcome this challenge because it forces you to prioritize your future goals. Again, this is the same thing as reverse budgeting, which we've talked about in the past. On the other hand, if you budget carefully, you give every dollar a purpose. Maybe you use a budgeting app like I do. You might have more success sticking to savings and investing goals. In those cases, the pay yourself first method may not be necessary or may not really provide much benefit for you. So overall, bottom line, if you find yourself struggling to consistently stick to savings and investing goals, try paying yourself first by timing all your contributions to transfer on those days that you get paid. And that in effect pays you first. You're paying yourself first because you're prioritizing those future goals before anything else happens. So that simple change by itself, could go a long way toward helping you stay on track toward those goals. So I hope that's helpful. As always, let me know what questions you have about this. Again, personal finance, not one size fits all, but the pay yourself first method does lead to a lot of success, especially for those who have trouble with traditional, $0 budgeting or zero-based budgeting. All right. As always, you know where to find me if you have questions about this or anything else. My website is elevationfinancial.com. And I really do mean it. Some people, probably think, they don't want to take me up on this, but I really do mean it when I say reach out for a complimentary money session. Obviously, if you're, interested in working with me, it's a great way to kind of chat and get to know me. But you don't have to work with me. You can just ask some questions. And if you're kind of on the fence, I tell a lot of people, hey, if you just have a few questions, I'm not going to try to, persuade you to work with me if I answer your questions and you're good to go. So we'll see how it goes. Again, that's at elevationfinancial.com. Feel free to reach out anytime. And thanks for joining me today. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.